In 1991, Guns N' Roses unveiled something no one expected. Not a snarling anthem, not another chaotic burst of hard rock fury, but a ballad, nearly 9 minutes long. A song that blurred the line between art and life and became the band's biggest gamble. But how did the most dangerous band in the world create something so delicate? And what tragic love story pushed it into existence? The roots of this song go back to 1983. Axl Rose had always been drawn to the piano, not with discipline, but with instinct. He'd learn what his teacher showed him, then wander off into his own world. One melody stayed. At parties, in studios, backstage, he'd sit down and play it, a haunting phrase that refused to leave him. His attempt at writing his own Your Song, his own Someone Saved My Life Tonight. He worshipped Elton John, and he wanted something with the same weight, but darker. The challenge? Guns N' Roses wasn't Elton John. They were chaos, excess, and danger. So how do you turn a soft piano ballad into something that still sounds like GNR? Then came the breakthrough. In 1985, Axl saw Tommy Lee of Motley Crue at a piano playing Home Sweet Home. Stripped down, emotional, and yet still rock. That was the blueprint.
The short story is about a rock star who was inspired by Axl, who writes a song called Without You about the woman who he loves but he can't really have.
At the time, Axl Rose was entangled in a romance with Erin Everly, daughter of Don Everly from the legendary Everly Brothers. It began like a dream, passionate, intense, but the deeper it went, the darker it became. What started as love spiraled into obsession, into volatility, into something toxic. That chaos didn't just stay behind closed doors, it spilled into art. Axl's close friend, writer Del James, took inspiration from what he saw and crafted a short story called Without You. The tale was haunting. A rock star modeled after Axl himself writes a song for the woman he adores but can never truly hold on to. She leaves, broken by betrayal. He watches her despair deepen until she takes her own life. And drowning in guilt, he follows her down the same path. A story of love, of excess, of self-destruction. And whether fans realized it or not, this tragic fiction became the emotional blueprint for Guns N' Roses' biggest hit. But which song was it? And how did a personal collapse turn into one of the most ambitious rock ballads ever recorded?
It was frightening to be around them. There was so much insanity, you know.
The song could have appeared on Guns N' Roses' 1987 debut Appetite for Destruction, but Axl wasn't ready. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he didn't trust anyone else to help him shape it. November Rain wasn't done, he admitted years later.
Coming down between that and Sweet Child, and I knew November Rain wasn't done. I didn't really want anybody to help me write it. And at the same time, I knew that it was going to take a lot of work to do what I wanted to do, and I really didn't feel capable, and that the people around me were...
He wanted drums like Nigel Olsson's on Elton John's Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. He wanted strings that could stretch the song into something cinematic.
Because Axl said to me, he said, kind of want to make this song like Nigel Olsson type drumming, right? And I went, yeah, Nigel Olsson from Elton.
But he didn't yet have the tools or the patience to explain what he heard in his head. Instead, he turned to synthesizers. He layered sound after sound until he had built his own orchestra. 3,000 samples, 8 keyboards, and 1 week of endless takes. Axl created a 130-piece orchestra by hand. What you hear in November Rain isn't fake. It's him, building the sound of heartbreak from scratch. And then there was Slash. From the very beginning, Axl had imagined the guitar solo, the way it would rise out of the piano melody, the way it would cry like a voice breaking under grief. Slash didn't just play it, he embodied it. Standing in the desert, his hair whipping in the wind, guitar screaming into the sky. It became one of the most iconic solos of all time. In Axl's mind, the original version of November Rain stretched nearly 20 minutes. He trimmed it to 9. Still, it was unlike anything radio had ever seen. A rock opera compressed into a single track. And against all odds, it worked. November Rain climbed into the Billboard Top 10, becoming one of the longest ballads in history to do so.
It was such a long song. It was like, wow, this is really, it was kind of hard to put together, really, for Guns N' Roses, you know? Because it was like, all of a sudden, there's Axl playing piano. It was like totally new and different to Slash and Duff.
It's not an easy song to play as a rock and roll band. It's like heavy guitars and bass and drums.
But behind the triumph was tragedy. Because what looked like pure fiction in Del James's short story was closer to Axl's real life than fans ever knew. While Del James was writing Without You, Axl Rose was sketching his own companion piece, a song that ended with the same phrase, Without You. When it came time to film the video, Axl envisioned not just one clip but an entire trilogy. Don't Cry, November Rain, Estranged. 3 acts of one story, all directed by Andy Morahan.
And goes, dude, I know who should play the part of Elizabeth. That was the girl's name in his story.
Well, I've never done a video. I never wanted to do it.
The November Rain video carried a staggering price tag, $1.5 million. At the time, it was the most expensive rock video ever produced. A record later broken by another Guns N' Roses video, Estranged. But for all its cost, the video delivered. On MTV, it was a phenomenon. Fans were captivated by the sweeping cinematography, Slash's desert solo, and the surreal imagery. Roses dripping blood, orchestras in the rain, a funeral casket with a mirror covering half the bride's face. And yet the biggest question remained unanswered. How did the bride die? In Without You, the ending was clear. She dies by suicide, shattered by betrayal. But in the video, her fate is left deliberately vague. We only see the casket, the covered face. Some believe the mirror was meant to hide a gunshot wound. Others saw it as a symbol, fractured identity, broken love.
To what he wrote about her, you know, I can't live with you and I can't live without you.
It's actually the song Estranged.
I wrote this story after the night that I spent with Axl.
Axl planned for Estranged to explain everything. The band wanted the trilogy to unfold like a rock opera on film. But life got in the way. Axl broke up with model Stephanie Seymour, the woman who played the bride. The narrative collapsed with the relationship. As director Andy Morahan later admitted, where we had intended to make the sequel the conclusion of November Rain, things changed. Plans changed.
There was an evolving that took place that's very hard to rise to transcend the story that we had and that we intended.
Instead of bringing closure, the story unraveled. The follow-up abandoned the wedding entirely, leaving the so-called trilogy fractured and unfinished. What was supposed to be an epic arc turned into a puzzle with missing pieces, one that fans still argue about to this day. And yet, confusion didn't stop this song from carving its place into history. It became the most watched rock ballad on YouTube, the first music video of the 1990s to pass 1 billion views. But its legacy is not just in the numbers. It's in the images that refuse to fade. Slash tearing into a solo against the desert sky. Roses bleeding onto the floor. An orchestra performing in the rain. And the haunting vision of a mirror concealing half a woman's face. Symbols of love, death, and regret that reached far beyond rock culture. Still, not everyone saw beauty in the tragedy. Some questioned the story itself. Why should a woman's despair, sparked by betrayal, end in self-destruction? Why did her silence exist only to amplify his pain? To critics, it felt ego-driven, a relic of 90s rock culture where male anguish overshadowed female voices. And then came the what-ifs. Fans whispered about the original 20-minute version Axl envisioned. Would a longer cut have answered the questions the video refused to? Or would it only have deepened the mystery? We'll never know. What we were left with were fragments. But fragments can still become legend. Because this song wasn't just hard rock excess. It carried the structure of synth-pop storytelling, the elegance of Elton John, and the fury of Guns N' Roses all colliding in one place. That collision created something timeless. Today, the ballad stands as more than a hit, born from obsession, shaped by heartbreak, and immortalized in rain.